أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم. We are discussing human evolution, which is a part of overall evolution, which comprises cosmic evolution, biotic evolution, human evolution, moral evolution, and then various developments which have taken place all along and after different stages. Now, we had reached the stage where last time, just to reconnect, we had discussed that when we are discussing evolution, we are discussing from the scientists, from the science, from the various theories which are given by scientists. They are subject to change, they are changing, they are ever changing, they are not fixed. And we try to connect certain points, we try to find certain clues from science just in order to understand the Quran. And the facts of the Quran are eternal, they remain there. Even if we are not able to understand today, we are not trying to translate it in the terms which are being used by the scientists, but we are just trying to find the clues in order to understand in the light of, with the help of the new information which is becoming available. And in that context, I had submitted that Rububiyat after creation, Uluhiyat, Rububiyat is a much, much, far, far wider concept. Within Rububiyat, when we are discussing evolution, it is a very little, small part of it, very small part of it. And Quran presents the subject or the process not without salah. It is Rububiyat is unfolding Falah, and Falah is unfolding various aspects of evolution. So evolution is a very small part which we are discussing. It is not the whole. It is just part of Falah, and Falah is part of Rububiyat, and Rububiyat we cannot discuss without discussing Uluhiyat, that is the oneness of creation. Oneness of the creation means the oneness of creation of one law, one lawgiver. Now, with this sequence, last time we had reached the point where we were going to discuss the evolution of earthen material, and the starting earthing material, which we, when we arrange different statements in the Quran, is the turaban. Turaban, that is the inorganic material. How the inorganic material evolved, then inorganic material became teen, the organic material, and then sulalatam min teen, various extracts of that teen, of that organic material. So we'll go in that sequence. How Turaban was created in inorganic material, that is Turaban, is chemical evolution into organic material, and then different categories of development, different aspects of development of biology up to embryology. Up to embryology. The stages which have been mentioned in the Quran, it appears that these are the stages of development, that is gynecology, that is gynae. That is a different stage. Evolution has taken place already. Evolution has taken place earlier. Now, since last, say, millions of years, since the creation of Adam alayhi salam, Jal, The word jal is used. After that, the developments have taken place in consequence to the evolution. Now, these are two different aspects which we have to understand. That from the biology leading to embryology, the embryology within the womb, that is not a process of evolution. Man is now giving birth to a man, to a person, to a human being. That is the period of mammals. So we have to differentiate between the evolution and further developments, and within that, the embryology, which we are discussing, and the other aspects of embryology. So there are different ayats which lead to this. Now we come back to the creation of turabun, inorganic material. Initially, Earth was probably a glowing mass of free hydrogen, very hot, free hydrogen, and such other atoms when subparticles fuse to form atoms. Initially, hydrogen was formed when the atoms, and before that, subparticles, they started fusing together, which eventually got sorted out according to their weights. Once the elements started forming, from hydrogen to helium to so many other elements, to iron, to and so many other elements, then they were sorted out in the nature, in the universe, according to their weight. And they were also, in the initial 4 days, out of 6 days, in 4 days, they were mixed together. Those atoms were mixed together. Heavy ones, for example, iron, nickel, and others, they settle down in the center of the earth. We are talking about the earthen material. So these heavy materials, they went inside, and those who were forming in the meantime, they were mixing also. So the atoms were mixing, and the heavier atoms, some of them, they were going to the core also. They were depositing in the core also, while they were being churned. They were being churned and they were being mixed together in that process of 4 days. Lighter atoms, for example, silicon, aluminum, they form the middle core. Then the lightest ones, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon. These are four atoms, which now will lead us to various other stages, various stages in the evolution, from turabun, from inorganic material to the organic material. But initially, these are the ingredients, the components, the elements of the turabun: hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon. But with carbon, when carbon will join them, the process of formation of teen will start, the organic material. These form the outermost layer. We find them even today. We find hydrogen in the environment, in the atmosphere, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon. Today, the studies, the scientific measurements, they show today about 90% of all living matter, anything which is living, from bacteria, algae, from anything to the elephant, today about 95% of all living matter consists of these four elements. Look at the design of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with these building atoms. He has built the 95% of all the living matter, and that consists of only these four elements. Or you can say mainly 95%, 95%. With cooling down, these atoms these atoms which we are discussing, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, basically, and the carbon will join later. In this sequence, carbon will come later. They played important role in formation of compounds. Now they will come together, they will stick together, they will form bonds, ionic bonds, covalent bonds, and then they will further arrange themselves by the hikmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the design which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in the kun, which has been put in the singularity. That design is unfolding, falah, in order to open up the potential, in order to achieve the potential which has been put in that design, which is unfolding even today. It continues to unfold in the universe, as the universe is expanding. The potential of that design is unfolding, and that is unfolding under the principle, guidance, order, amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is salah. Although in the meantime, mutations are taking place. That also will come, I'll explain there. There are negative and positive effects. There are so many other effects taking place, but the dominant factor is the falah. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I have created everything with khair, and I have enveloped everything with rahmah, So ultimately, the forces of falah is the call which we get every day in our azan also. So Allah is dominating with khair, enveloped in rahmah, and this universe is expanding. Otherwise, there are negative forces also. For example, the negative forces of mutation, they are also acting at the same time. Now, when these elements come together, then the compounds they stick together, they join together, they form bonds. They are now they produce water, hydrogen and oxygen. They came together, they stick together, they form water. 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of oxygen, under the given conditions, of the environment which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. Then in sequence came hydrogen cyanide. It is here where carbon has combined with hydrogen and nitrogen. Hydrogen cyanide. Now we are moving from inorganic to organic material. These substances are teen lazim. They are connecting. They can make chains when we come to the stage of amino acids. They will form chains also. The sticking does not only mean the covalent bond or only the ionic bond. That also means further sequencing. Teen lazim, which has a sequence. And the sequence, what is sequence? Sequence is the code. A specific arrangement of these atoms, molecules, substances, compounds in the substance. So hydrogen cyanide and water are termed as Adam and Eve of chemical evolution. Scientists, they call hydrogen cyanide and water as the Adam and Hawa, Adam and Eve of chemical evolution. Now we are talking of chemical evolution. Evolution is not just one thing, which Darwin said. Darwin just initiated, he just ignited, he just threw a sprint, through a material which has exploded. This is chemical evolution, biochemical evolution, then the biotic evolution, and there are so many other parts of evolution. So this is the chemical evolution, which is referred to as the evolution of Adam and Eve. Then comes ammonia. From here, now we come to the stage when ammonia was formed. Now, all these were formed under given conditions. These are discussed in details. There are so many theories and there are so many experiments. There is so much data available on this, and that it is still being studied. So then ammonia was formed. NH3, nitrogen, one atom, hydrogen, three atoms. These are the building blocks of proteins. Now, this is teen. Now, this is teen, lazibin. And this is sulalatam min teen. Now, new substances, new molecules will be formed. New substances like amino acid will be formed. It will not only be the sulalatamintine, but then the sulalatamintine will become teen lazibin. It will make chains that will ultimately become DNA. From ammonia was formed methane. The difference between ammonia and methane is ammonia nitrogen 1, hydrogen 3, but methane is carbon and hydrogen 4. Now this is teen. These are the ingredients of teen. Sulalatam min teen. And they will now, as we proceed further, they will come to form lazibin. They will become lazibin. CH4 enabled evolution of life. From here starts the biotic evolution. First it was cosmic, inorganic, torabun. Now it is becoming teen, and within teen there are various stages of evolution. When nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, they are coming together, and then different molecules are being formed, and ultimately methane. Now, carbon dioxide, carbon 1 and oxygen 2, these are essential for survival of most living organisms. You take any medicine, medicine works as the dose, with the dosage, prescribed dosage. Same carbon dioxide, which is essential for survival of all living organisms, can become dangerous when its dose exceeds. And it is exceeded today, which we find in the weather, warming of the climate, and ecosystem, photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide is essential, not necessary only, but essential in these for ecosystems, for photosynthesis, and for all living organisms. Carbon dioxide plays important role in regulation of Earth's temperature, and which we find today in the climate when we are discussing climate change. Hydrogen molecule is the simplest possible molecule. I'm not further going into these are the explanations how the hydrogen itself is formed. But one thing I think is important in this, which gives a clue to the tebaka. Not only the samawat, heavens, have been formed tebaka in sequential, befitting dimensions which fit together in 7 stages, in 7 taraik, but even every atom, within every atom, this is the arrangement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the subparticles within the atom are arranged on the same pattern. The simple building block presents the model of the whole universe. And they form energy levels. Now the 7 taraik of the heavens also, they have different levels of energy. Since they have different levels of energy, they have different levels of the different types of physical laws. But all physical laws ultimately they come under one law of the lawgiver, Lord of the universe, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These early compounds, which we have discussed, interacted further under the given conditions, for example, heat, temperature, pressure. Now, water is formed, wind is formed, atmosphere is formed. Under these given conditions, new compounds were formed. What were those new compounds which were formed? That we will see slowly. As hot ball of earth, previously it was all dukhan, it was all nebula, gaseous nebula, which was separated in 2 days into different balls. Now we are talking of the earth, the hot ball of earth. We are now talking of earth because we are discussing earthen material, Torabon and then teen. Gradually cooled enough, some gases liquefied. Some of the gases, they liquefied. They had the potential, they had the design, they had the quality to liquefy. And some liquids then solidified. As the temperatures went down, then they started solidifying also. The upper crust, the upper layer of the earth, which is crust, it cooled down first. The middle is still warm. We can get thermal energy from there, for example. But the core is very hot still. There's lava. There are heavy metals. They are the source which provides the magnetic force, electromagnetic processes, the phenomenon, the working of the magnet and electricity, which is producing electricity also, that is in the core of the earth. Surrounding atmospheric covering gases which were above the crust, above the earth, is a zone of hundreds of thousands of miles. Surrounding atmosphere covering, they found gases. We find gases around the earth. In the hydrosphere, we find gases, nitrogen, oxygen. This is our environment. This is our atmosphere. We breathe. These gases are still there. As Earth's crust cooled, the upper layer of the earth cooled, crust, that is called crust. It cooled enough to allow water to stay. And then the rains started. Quran mentions of the earth that the water was poured down from the above. And the science says it is continued raining for hundreds of years. So much water was sent down. This allowed water to stay. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells in the Quran that they made salak. They had the potential. Water has the force. It made its ways on the earth. It made rivers. It made lakes when the water was pouring down on the earth. There was a continuous downpour for hundreds of years. Downpour of water, it continued for hundreds of years. Rivers threaded, salak. Rivers threaded their ways down from heights and water collected in depressed areas to form seas, samandar, bahar, and lakes, and also collected underground, subsoil water, underground water. There are aquifers underground. And now, last week, they discovered a sea, an ocean within the earth. So there is a lot of water which is within the earth also. You must have seen those details which have emerged that there are not only rivers, rivers like Zamzam, which brings Zamzam, which always flows. Tajri min tahat al-anhar. There are not only rivers, there are not only aquifers, there are not only collections of waters underground, ainun, but there are oceans of water within the earth also, underground, to form reservoirs and springs. Reservoirs and springs. Who has created this? Allah has made the earth a coach for you, and the heavens your canopy, samawat, and send down rain from the heavens, which we have just seen, and brought forth therewith fruits for your sustenance. Then set not of not don't set rivals with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who has created? Quran says, even if you ask those kuffar, they say Allah. When He has created this, He is the Lord. He is maintaining them even today. If we study on the timeline of history, the entire process of not one evolution, but all the evolutions and all the allied developments, we find He is the Lord, and He is the unrivaled Lord. There's no other Lord. He is the only Lord. He is the only creator. The same creator is the Lord. The same Lord is the creator. He sends down water from the skies and channels flow, each according to its measure. These rivers, seas, lakes, everything has a measure, has dimensions, are calculated. Allah tatgo. Don't cross the limits which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in His design. Don't disturb the mizan. Don't disturb the balance. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. Even your climate will become your enemy. These waters will become your enemy. What has happened the day before yesterday in UAE? The rains. And the channels flow each according to its measure. Everything is with measure, behuswanan. Everything is behuswanan. Not only Shams and Qamar, but everything is behuswanan. But the torrent bears away the foam that mounts up to the surface. Now, this is another process which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining here, that how the chemicals, how the physical processes take place in this entire process which is going on. Allah, and do we, Allah, not send down from the clouds water in abundance, which the entire earth needs? There's no dearth of water. We are wasting water. We are not harnessing water. We are not harvesting water. These are the technical terms which are used. We are not economizing water. We are not conserving water. We are wasting it. Otherwise, it's enough. Seest thou not that Allah sends down rain from the sky and leads it through springs in the earth, reservoirs, oceans, rivers, lakes, under the earth, in the earth, within the earth. And we, Allah, send down water from the sky according to due measure, according to measure. And we cause it to soak in the soil. When the water soaked with the soil, it created humus. The biotic material which was produced over millions of years, it formed a thick layer of humus over the crust, so that we are able to do agriculture, horticulture. If there is no humus, only crust, there will be no agriculture. For example, the mountains of Mecca, Wadin Ghair Zi Zarin. On that, there is no humus. On those mountains, there's no humus. But here in the clay in which we do agriculture, there is humus, there is biotic life, there are microbes. If these were not there, there will be no agriculture. Because not only the operation which takes place, the processes which take place when we plant anything in the soil, in the subsoil, tahta sara, when we place it tahta sara, we cover, we hide it with the earth, we give it water. Is not only what comes out, the sprouting leaves and the trunks and the branches, but within the earth, within the root which is within the humus, there are millions of operations which take place. As millions of operations take place in our body, in our glands, which we can't see, they are within our body. Millions of factories produce chemicals. So within the root, there are in all these fruits, trees, in all this agriculture, there are millions of different operations which are taking place. Look at this ayat. And we, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, have sent down from the sky water in determined measure, repeating in different ayat. And we gave it lodging in the earth so that it stays in the earth. There are oceans, water stays in the oceans. There are rivers, water flows through the rivers. Lakes, water stays there. Lodging, they stays there. And verily, we are indeed ever all powerful, able to take it away. Not only take it up, but he can take it down. Ma'im Mahin in Surah Mulk, at the end, the last ayah, if the water goes down, who will bring you? In 2000, when the earthquake came in Gujarat in India, it affected the aquifer level, the water level, the subsoil water level in third desert of Pakistan, Sindh. There the water level used to be about 100 to 150 feet down. But when this earthquake came, it went to 1,000 feet. 1,000 feet. At that time, I was Additional Chief Secretary, we had to sanction a special project, and the army helped to go down, drill down further and further, because there are certain points which you cannot leave, and they had to guard that, they had to live there, they had to stay there. They needed water, and we used to transport water in the meantime from Islam Court, and from Hyderabad to Islam Court. These are cities. From Hyderabad, from Karachi to Islam Court, from Badin to Islam Court, and then to the border areas, in trains, in trucks, in tankers, even on donkey carts. So if the water goes down, how can you arrange it? Allah sends down water from the skies, and the channels flow, each according to its measure. Even there is a measure of the rivers, their banks. The two banks of the river are called Udmanun. Without two banks, it cannot, and they have measure. Examine following report. Now look at this report and then I'll stop. Scientists from NASA's astrobiology, by the branch of science which studies astrophysics and biology together, cosmic physics and the biology together. This institute, they are studying various flakes of material brought from different archipelages, archipelagos, and other parts of the earth. For example, in Mexico's ancient formations called, these are different names given there, stromatolites, rock structures. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned there's rock-heavy structures. And within rocks, there is water. Within rocks, there is life. Within rocks, the life gets their sustenance. they get risk. Formations, these are the rock structures formed by layers of algae that trap the silt. They trap the silt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you break those such type of stones, there are different types of the stones. You get water. The Quran is telling that. This condition that prevailed on earth for more than 2 billion years. 2 billion years. Now, the biotic evolution after teen was found, after carbon joined it, the teen revolution, the biotic revolution is started, and this biotic evolution continued for billions of years till we came to the stage where now we will go to understand that how the material was formed, which ultimately created the material which forms DNA. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت. اللهم ادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اخرجنا من ظلمات الجهل والوهم إلى أنوار العلم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم بفضلك ورحمتك أعلي كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وعز المسلمين يا أكرم الأكرمين. Oh Allah, spread your mercy upon us. Shower us with your blessings. Increase our knowledge. Grant us forgiveness. And reward us with the company of the prophets in the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, forgive our parents and all our friends and relatives who are sick, who have passed away. Oh Allah, make their graves a garden from heaven and grant them the Firdaus al-A'la. Oh Allah, we have many of our friends and relatives who are sick. Oh Allah, we have our son Ma'raj, our daughter Aisha Wani, and many others. Oh Allah, grant them full and speedy recovery. Oh Allah, we know that there is no cure but yours. Oh Allah, grant them a cure that leaves no ailment or injury. Oh Allah, guide our children, protect them, and make them righteous. Oh Allah, we have many of our brethren who are in Palestine and in many other parts of the world. Oh Allah, they are facing a barbaric enemies and unjust world and complacent Muslim nation. Oh Allah, they have none but you. Oh Allah, grant them victory, heal their trauma, protect their helpless, and fulfill their need. Oh Allah, we ask with every name you have elected for yourself that none of us leave this gathering, but his pains have been relieved, his worries have been removed, his debts have been paid, his weaknesses have been concealed, his sins have been forgiven, and his needs have been fulfilled. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. سبحان الله وبحمده عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.